Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. Okay, so for too powerful for Marvel movies in this video, I want to focus on Gladiator. And we're really kind of pulling from the realm of obscurity here, at least for the average moviegoer, for the average person out there. For comic book readers, most of you guys know who Gladiator is, but for the non-comic book reader, they're probably largely unaware unless they watch X-Men the animated series, then they know who Gladiator is. Gladiator is actually a guy named Kellark, and he is essentially like a stand-in for Superman in Marvel Comics. And it's kind of funny because like he actually comes from a planet called Strontia, which makes him what's called a Strontian. And it's well known that they're basically Kryptonians in terms of their design. Like literally they have all the same powers as Superman. The caveat to this is that when it comes to these Strontians, what they can do in their base form, they have like flight, durability, speed, all those different things. But what they can do is they can undergo what's called the Gladiator process. And what this essentially does is one, like it hones all their abilities and everything, but two, it amplifies their powers. Now, the kicker to all this is that when it comes to Gladiator, he can do a lot of things. He is astronomically powerful in a variety of ways, right? Like he can shatter planets with his punches. He's collapsed stars. He can make himself immune to like various levels of telepathy, not super high. Like if Jean Grey as the Phoenix Force decided to like invade his mind, or like Charles Xavier wanted to invade his mind, there's not a whole lot he can do. He's gone toe to toe with Hyperion. Literally, like there was one point. Either it was during the old. It wasn't during the old Sorcerer. Or I'm sorry, Squadron Supreme stories. I want to say it was during Avengers and New Avengers, something like that. Anyway, Hyperion went to go punch Gladiator, and Gladiator just like stuck his hand out and blocked his blow. There was a story it was the lead up to War of Kings. I think it was the rise and fall of the Shi'ar Empire, when Gladiator went toe to toe against Vulcan and like crushed him, like beat the absolute crap out of him. And Vulcan's like, and he's an Omega level mutant, so like he's not weak. Really, like Vulcan focuses more on energy manipulation, whereas literally like Gladiator's just brute strength. But still, like it's a pretty insane feat. I mean, he can breathe in like the vacuum of space. He's got like heat. I mean, he's got like heat vision. He can see super far with microscopic. He's got all these crazy abilities. Of course, there's also the healing factor and everything that goes into it. But the biggest weakness of Gladiator comes in the form of the fact that he basically, like all of his strength and abilities are tied to his confidence. The less confident Gladiator gets in his powers, meaning if he faces off against a foe and that foe is sufficient enough to where they're able to like, either they can rival him in power or overpower him, and his confidence will start to wane, his powers will start to wane with him. But it's also kind of the opposite, which makes him akin to the Incredible Hulk in the sense that the more confident he gets, the more powerful he becomes. And so if he faces off against a foe and literally just starts winning, like if he starts fighting Thor and then starts winning, then like it'll start to bolster his confidence and he'll get more and more powerful to the point where Thor just can't stand a chance against him. So again, it really kind of varies based on you know how he views himself at that point in time, but he is still astronomically powerful. Now, take Gladiator and throw him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you throw him into the MCU, at the outset, almost nobody would be able to defeat him shy of the Incredible Hulk. And I think the Incredible Hulk could go toe to toe with him, right? Like the Incredible Hulk would be able to go toe to toe with Gladiator. And that's really where things would begin to wax and wane. The Avengers would keep on coming, right? Like they would just keep showing up and showing up and showing up and facing off against him, right? Like until they're defeated, put out of commission, and they can't fight anymore, they would just keep fighting as long as they could. Iron Man wouldn't really be able to do anything against him. Possibly he could, actually, now that I think about it, because Gladiator is weak to some forms of radiation. So depending on what that kind of radiation is and what versions they choose to use, it could essentially like sort of bring him down. But barring Tony Stark realizing anything like that, Tony Stark wouldn't be able to stand a chance. Captain America wouldn't be able to stand a chance. So it would come down to the heavy hitters. It would literally come down to like Thor and the Incredible Hulk. Now, again, like with the Incredible Hulk facing off against him, as far as I'm aware, gamma radiation is not a form of radiation that Gladiator is weak to. And so with the Incredible Hulk putting off gamma radiation, the longer he fights for, all that's really going to happen is that the Incredible Hulk is going to become increasingly stronger. And as he becomes increasingly stronger, then literally he'll be able to match Gladiator and then like face off against him. But it's going to be one of these, it's going to be a strange fight. It's going to be a strange battle because, you know, if Gladiator shows up, say he shows up in the MCU, he defeats Captain America, he defeats Iron Man, defeats Black Widow, Hawkeye, all those guys, defeats everybody, and the only two people standing are Thor and the Incredible Hulk. The way this is going to go down is like Thor and the Incredible Hulk are going to start fighting him. Thor's probably going to get defeated, not quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's not going to gonna be crushed like that easily. But Thor will be defeated by Gladiator. He can't go toe to toe with him, with Gladiator showing up and like his confidence bolstered. Like it's just too much power, unless Thor went into like berserker mode, which is possible. If he goes into like his berserker rage, his berserker state, which like amplifies his strength even to even higher levels, then sure, he could probably do it. Although now that I think about it, in the Mighty Thor number 34, no, in the Mighty Thor number 34, Thor and Gladiator fought. Gladiator won the first round, Thor won the second. So, okay, so I guess it could go either way. But regardless of the situation, like in that fight, like I would say at the outset, Gladiator would win, which in turn would have Gladiator focus on the Incredible Hulk. And it would basically just be like unlimited strength. And so if the Incredible Hulk fighting against Gladiator all this time and having not been destroyed or, been defeated, basically meant that like his anger kept rising, then eventually he would rival Gladiator in power and then he would overpower Gladiator. When that happened, then Kellogg's power would start to wane because his confidence would start to drop off. And as his confidence started to drop off, he would basically start to lose the fight because he wouldn't be able his power would literally just start to diminish. And so then Thor jumps back in and then Thor ends up defeating him and that's it. But it's a big weakness to have in reality because in comic books, you don't usually see that, right? Like you don't usually see a character whose power is tied directly into their confidence and that their confidence can be shaken. Now, again, like there's other ways to get around that too, right? It doesn't just have to be a fight that leads to the confidence of Gladiator being shaken. Like they can take a moral approach and say like, you're killing innocent people. And that in turn will make Gladiator question himself, which in turn will lower his confidence and that'll lead to a defeat. There's multiple ways to take him out. It's not just brute force. But the fact remains that, throwing him into the MCU at the outset, if it's like a fully confident Gladiator with like all of his normal powers, basically his powers at 100%, and then in turn facing off against the Avengers and his powers don't wane, his powers don't change at all, he's gonna crush them all. But if it's a fully powered Gladiator going against, the Incredible Hulk and Thor and those guys, and anywhere along the line his powers start to wane, then that's their opening. That's literally their ability to capitalize on it. Now, in reality, I would say Captain America could figure that out. Like I would say Captain America would be the one to watch him fight because one of the things that people tend to forget is Captain America is an exceedingly intelligent fighter. Even if he's not all that powerful, and even if he's not like that great of a character, he's really, really good at analyzing people's fighting styles and figuring out what their strengths and weaknesses are and how to attack them effectively. And if what he's doing is watching this fight go down between the Incredible Hulk and Thor, all he does is have to look at, all he has to do is look at Gladiator and say, hey, like in these small little moments here and there, his power wanes, even if only for like a minute or two, which basically means that like something's happening. So like focus on that. And then along the way, Captain America will realize his confidence drops, his powers drop, and then it'll be the chance for the Avengers to win. So again, it's a cool scenario. And in reality, I would love to see it. The problem with this is that Gladiator usually never fights alone, right? Like Gladiator usually fights alongside the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, which the Shi'ar is just another race out there. It's kind of like an amalgamation of races, all of which swear allegiance to like the Shi'ar Magister or Magistrix, the existing king. But the Imperial Guard is like their elite fighting force. And it's like the most elite fighting force in the entirety of the universe because it's a whole bunch of different people with a whole bunch of different powers, all of which come from like different races, all of which are under the Shi'ar Empire. And so again, like if the whole Imperial Guard shows up on Earth, well then they're all screwed. Like there's nothing the Avengers can do. Like they're all gonna die. That's just the way it is. Like I would say just between Oracle and like Gladiator, they could kill them all. But even, with the whole Imperial Guard, there's no way they can win. But Gladiator by himself, there's a chance the Avengers could win. And that's kind of the cool thing. That's kind of the benefit to that is yes, he's powerful. And yes, by normal standards, he's too powerful for the MCU. But through that one caveat, through that one thing, he could pull off a victory. And so again, it's pretty interesting. But let me know what you guys think, because I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious what your all stance is on this. Do you guys think a fight between the Incredible Hulk and Gladiator could last long enough that the Incredible Hulk could begin to capitalize and then turn the confidence of Gladiator, depower him, and then defeat him? Like, do you guys think that could happen? With Thor, again, it's a little bit of a different situation because Thor's power is not limitless, right? It's not unlimited power. But with the Incredible Hulk, it is. So I'm kind of curious what your all stance is on this. But with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you all later. Peace.